Who have eyes, let them see, and who can hear me, I hope you listen. This is a tribute to some ancestors and to those of my bloodline that come from the Caribbean to dispel some fallacies and some mythologies. So if you would, pay attention. If it's not for you, you can get the out. All right. This is a flag of my people from a place called Trinidad and Tobago. This flag here has been in existence since 1962. Pay attention to the dates because we're going to uncast the spell. Because if you want to uncast the spell, you might want to know the words that you got to use. So here we go. Now, a little backstory. Before it was called Trinidad, the land was known as a place called Caranari or Caranari. We're going to circle back around to that because that's where the word Carib or the Caribbean comes from. And before that, all those places that are in what you call the West Indies or the Caribbean was known as the Isle of the Antilles. But before this flag was another flag. This flag right here, yeah, right there, that was a British colony flag. Now, anytime you hear the word colony, I need you to understand that there was some type of wars or conflicts going on in these territories that you would call the Caribbean or the Americas. This flag would exist between 1889 and 1958. Now, remember these dates because when did they tell us Christopher Columbus came? 1492. So pay attention because the Reconstruction and the Reconquistador is going to play a part in how these territories got these flags. And then, you see that right there. That flag is for United Kingdom, Great Britain, or Britain, whichever one you want to call it. Over here in the corner right here, you got some writing. The writing goes, Miscaric probat populus et federa jungi, or jungi. And that translates to, and the mixture of the People's Federation of the Union. Now, what other territory had a union? And what other place had a feudal or federation and or confederacy? This flag, before 1889 and 1498, this was the flag of Trinidad. And this is called the Cross of Burgundy. Now, stick with me here. We need to read something to get some context. The Cross of Burgundy originated in the 15th century as a Burgundian emblem. It was introduced to Spain by Philip, the fair Duke of Burgundy. Charles I of Spain adopted the flag as his standard in honor of his father. The flag was used by the Spanish military until 1843. It also was used in Spanish colonial territories such as New Spain and Peru. The flag symbolizes the era of the Spanish exploration and colonization. It is used on regimental colors, badges, shoulder patches, and company guidons. The flag is a key historical symbol of Spain's global influence during the age of exploration, colonization. The flag is also known as the St. Andrew flag. Interesting. This is where who have eyes, let them see. Florida flag. Why are they talking about Florida? The Florida state flag incorporates the Cross of Burgundy on a white background. Interesting. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if the Spanish flag that we know now didn't exist until 1981, and the flag before that represented the Spanish Republic, you must know that anytime you hear the word republic, that means that it was granted authority by somebody that looks like me. You understand? So, how does that relate to Florida? Well, if anybody's ever driven into Florida, when you go into there, it says, welcome to Al-Andalusia. Al-Andalusia would be the same name of what you would call or think is Spain. Stick with me here. And this is from the United States Congressional Library. The West Indies, including part of Virginia, North Carolina, East Florida, South Carolina, West Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and the Gulf of Mexico, with part of the coast of South America, from the Bay of Honduras to the mouth of the River of Orocano, from the latest invest authorities and actual observations. This was called the West Indies. Now, if you are from the Caribbean, what is another name that they call us from there? West Indians. So that means somebody's lying. I think y'all need some more reading to understand and see how they lie right in front of your face. So let me read. The word Carib comes from the Spanish word Caribe, which may have been originated from Arawakan or Kalinago words. It was first recorded in the mid-1500s. Now, I know, like some know, that this had to derive from Latin because there was no Spanish language. During these times, if you're talking about the 1500s, 1400s, there was no Spanish. There was only Latin. So, Arawakan origin. The word Caribe or Carib may have come from Arawakan words Kalingo, Karina, or Kalino, which may mean brave ones or strong men. Early Spanish explorers, colonizers, used the term Carib to refer to indigenous groups they considered hostile. Why don't they say Aboriginal? Because we all know you can't discover a place that has a people. Now, I ain't going to even read Kalinago origin. Let's go down to the bottom. Other uses. The Caribbean Sea was named after the Carib people. And remember, Trinidad is called Carinari. The Carib were indigenous people of Central and North South America and formerly of the Caribbean. The Carib were known for being expert navigators who made raids in large dugout canoes. So, sounds like you're talking about the Moors to me, but this is how they tie up the Moors and the Moors and a people who are American, Amaru. Now, for more context, one must understand that during 1492 up into, you want to call the Reconstruction, which is the 1800s, this here place that they call Trinidad and Tobago now went through different types of labelings. You had it a part of what you would call the Lacono Confederacy, keyword Confederacy, and it went through transitions of being called a colony. Remember that when it's called a colony, you're going through a time and period where there are parties fighting over lands. When you hear about the Dutch, the Spanish, and the British having these wars. But if you want more context, I'd suggest you read about the 100 Years' War. This flag represents when we was whooping their ass. This flag represents an empire. This flag can be traced to North Carolina. This flag can be traced to when the empire was known as Haiti, before the H. And if you think about Haiti and you're trying to regulate it down to the island you know as Haiti, all you old school Caribbean, you old heads, y'all failed, y'all fucked up. And this is why the younger generation is so divisive. And y'all be saying things like Douglas and separating between classism, colorism, and all the different isms that was given to us as a result of capitalism. This flag was the last time that we was whooping their ass before 1492. It represented an empire of all the Americas. It was a regional imperium flag, and we was fighting for stopping these people from enslaving white people that we call now. And this flag is also a representation that we were trading in the Americas and the Caribbean and South America way before colonizers ever came around and gave us those other flags. Know your history. Know thyself. And didn't come on no boat from no Africa. You've been here. You are home. And you might want to take back your inheritance. But to do so, you might want to know where you come from so that you know where you're going.